So Jamie Carragher has twice said that Mikel Arteta is moving away from Pep Guardiola's style of football and principles towards something that's more Jose Mourinho. It's wound up Arsenal fans. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why I disagree with some bits. Let me say that on the Monday Night Football segment, he put forward some really compelling data and evidence. And we're going to break that down in this video. But this idea that Arsenal fans should be really wound up by the comparisons to Jose Mourinho, I disagree with some of it, but I don't be insulted by it. I don't think he's trying to antagonise. He's said as much, Jamie Carragher. He's tried to explain exactly why he sees it this way. And I agree. I don't think he's trying to antagonise Arsenal fans, firstly. Secondly, I don't think it should be seen as an insult if we were to be a more Jose Mourinho style team. They were defensively very good. They were dominant at their very, very best. And they scored goals. They could play some good football. So let's not take that as a massive insult to a manager who, whether you like him or loathe him, he is someone who has had tremendous success and built some very, very good sides. And let me also say this about Jamie Carragher. I've taken a lot of inspiration over the years from the way Jamie Carragher does his punditry and analysis. I think Monday Night Football is one of the best football shows in the world. I love watching it. So for me, I don't think we need to be insulted by it or sort of think that Jamie Carragher isn't making some good points here, because he absolutely is. But I disagree with some of it. That's what I'm going to explore in this video today, going frame by frame or graphic by graphic to try and explain what I disagree with. Here's me trying to go analysis for analysis with Jamie Carragher. This isn't going to end well, but we'll give it a go. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, whether I've got some points at the end of it or whether there's anything you agree with me on. Let's go with this first bit, which on Monday Night Football, they show these summer signings. They show how Arsenal have evolved from having players that are more technically gifted, not the most physically imposing players, and Zinchenko, Vieira, Jesus, Odegaard, White, to moving towards a Rice, Havertz, Timber, Calafiori, Marino in the following summers because of the way the 22-23 campaign ended. And his big point was we got bullied by Man City in that game in the Etihad in the 4-1 defeat. We were bullied kind of out the title race. We struggled to deal with it, and Arteta tried to answer that by adding some physicality, becoming a bit more pragmatic and evolving the style. I actually agree with quite a bit of this. I do think that Arteta saw the way the 22-23 campaign unfolded and felt that we needed something that was more defensively resolute, something that was tighter, something that was physically more commanding. I think he felt we needed to bully teams a little bit more and ensure we couldn't get bullied. And I also think we did evolve into a slightly more pragmatic team in the 23-24 campaign, or at least get our platform and the base of the side better. What I disagree with, though, is that Arteta basically flipped. This idea that Arteta went from, let's play really good attacking, exciting football, to, we need to protect the team. We need to be a lot more defensively solid, and we're going to move away from my main principles. Because Mikel Arteta has always sort of been very fluid in and out of different styles of football. This idea that it's only in the last kind of year and a half or year or so that we've actually been really good defensively, albeit our recent record wouldn't tell you are. But this idea that this style of football's come back in the last year or so, I disagree with. And this idea that the attacking football's kind of been left behind, I disagree with. Let me show you that in the FA Cup winning Arsenal side, when we won in 2020, of course, we played that, a lot of the FA Cup games, the big ones against Man City and Chelsea, behind closed doors because of the pandemic. But in winning that FA Cup, very early, less than a year into Mikel Arteta's reign as Arsenal manager, he opted for a 3-4-3. He opted for Maitland-Niles as a wing-back. He opted for a tight front three that would sort of be the creative outlets. And he opted to try and be really defensive and pragmatic to beat Man City and Chelsea in those finals. And in those games, it worked. He very quickly instilled a defensive shape. He really quickly found a way for us to be able to dig deep, get into a good shape and frustrate the opposition. And very early on, winning a trophy, it was kind of like the main success he's had as an Arsenal coach was playing this kind of way, and it happened very, very early into his reign. When he then, the season after that, the 2021 campaign was just a complete disaster. Don't even ask me what our style of football was. I think that was Arteta really struggling to get his principles into the team. But then we started to become a much better side in the 21-22 campaign, challenging for Champions League football. If you look at that season, we still had games where we had to be really defensive and pragmatic. A 1-0 away win at Aston Villa, a 1-0 away win at Wolves, albeit down to 10 men, a 1-0 away win at Burnley, 2-1 at West Ham, 2-0 at Leicester, and Liverpool's won the Carragher Cup when we drew 0-0, although, again, we were down to 10 men. Those were games where Arsenal had to drop into really deep shape, defend for their lives, protect their goal, and just try to see out the clean sheet. And actually, we did really, really well in that season to again quickly adopt a defensive shape, look after what we had. We didn't have the ability to control games, to basically score more goals than we kind of had in us. And so we protected our goal a lot. So again, this idea that it's just this campaign, it was the 21-22 campaign where Arsenal, again, en route to trying to get Champions League football, were displaying this style of play quite a few times. And even in this season when we were, in my opinion, the most electric and exciting we've been from an entertainment perspective under Mikel Arteta, we still had games where we had to adopt this style of play. Away at Newcastle in a 2-0 win, goals from Ødegaard and a goal from Fabian Schär, we had less shots and we had less possession. And then a couple months earlier, away at Tottenham in a 2-0 win, we had less shots and we had less possession. So this isn't a complete shock that Arsenal had this ability to defend in this way, because even in the two campaigns before we got known for playing this way, Arsenal had an ability to revert to this style of football. Then they go into a different graphic where they talk about comparing this season to last season for 4 key particular stats. Let me give you my thoughts on them. So they go to open play chances per game. They say that this season, we're down to 9 per game. We were at 11.9 before. I wouldn't say that's a massive drop, but they're basically saying that we went from 3rd in the league to 10th. They said that our percentage chances from set pieces has gone up, so we're more reliant on set piece, they're saying. They're also saying that we're going long more, and they say that the percentage of our goalkeeper passes that are going long has gone up too. Now, what I do think, there is some merit to this for me in that our style has evolved a little bit. I think our goalkeeper passes have gone long. I do think Riot is trying to go longer more than usual. Long passes I hadn't really noticed, but that would sort of make sense, though. It's not a massive jump from 17th to 12th. I mean, I would have thought we'd be higher than 12th, but okay. And then the big one is percentage chances from set pieces. I'll go through the others again in a little bit more detail, but from the percentage chances from set pieces bit, for me, I think this is more reflection of not the fact that we've become more reliant on set pieces, that we're trying to, win set pieces so we can do more with them. I mean, it was only last season or season before, that Thomas Partey was taking long throws and people thought, well, that's very Tony Pulis, isn't it? It's been for a long time that our ability from set pieces has been a real weapon for Arsenal. The problem is we were scoring the goals and doing well from an attacking football perspective before, so obviously that percentage of chances from set pieces went down. But we've always been a threat from set pieces. This current campaign, we've got 4 goals from set pieces. Aston Villa lead the way with 5. The season before that, we got 20 goals from set pieces, leading the way in the Premier League. Man City and Liverpool in the top 5 too. The season before that, Liverpool had the most goals with 17 from set pieces. Arsenal still with 15 though in 4th, and the season before that, Arsenal was 16 goals from set pieces, 3rd behind Liverpool and Man City. So my takeaways from that are that City and Liverpool scoring just as many goals from set pieces. They are also very, very good from that area. And secondly, that Arsenal have been putting up these numbers for 3-4 seasons now, since Nicolas Jova arrived. So this idea that it's like a reliance thing, I take issue with. It's just the one part of our game that's functioning well now. The other stuff hasn't really clicked. And there's context, that which we'll go into. But I don't agree that it's like a reliance thing, that Arsenal are looking to be more threatening from that more than other things. We've always been threatening from set pieces. It's just the one part of our game that's actually maintained some consistency this season on last season as well. With everything else they mentioned, if we just show the graphic one more time, it's that for me, the open play chances per game, how often we're going long, or the goalkeeper passes that are going long. For me, there's a little bit of a missed context. Again, do I think we've reverted to a slightly more direct style? Yes, I agree. Do I think that we've struggled to create chance from open play? Yes, I agree with that too. But I think it does lack a little bit of context. For me, I think the missing of Martin Ødegaard is huge. Now, should we have done more in the transfer window to get a like for like? Should we have played one area more there? Should we have maybe opted some other options to try and fix that? Yes, I'm not saying it's an excuse we should do better. But the point is he's missing. And a lot of our best football comes through him, and a lot of our build-up, a lot of our intricacy in the final third to create chances rests with Martin Ødegaard. So I do think we need to acknowledge that him missing, plus the games we've had, and look, I know that everyone's had some tough games, I get it, but I'm not sure I've seen quite a run like this at the start of the season, whereby Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Liverpool at home, Man City away, Villa away, Tottenham away, and should we chuck Bournemouth in there because they just beat City, but maybe I'm doing too much now. It's a really, really, really tricky start to the season in which we haven't had loads of injuries, as some will make out, but we've had some annoying key injuries in certain areas at annoying times that have affected maybe the way we want to approach the game. And ultimately, all this is adding to why Arsenal haven't been as electric, as exciting. But when I looked at the numbers against Leicester and Southampton, we played at home, 2 more, if you call it favourable games. Of course, they are 2 of the lowest ranked teams in the Premier League at the moment. Arsenal did play some really exciting attacking football in those games. Arsenal were electric on the ball. Arsenal were good to watch. Against Leicester, we were fantastic. Against Southampton, we were a little bit more, not quite at it, but still more than deserving. The winners still created plenty of chances, still won 3-1. So, City beat them 1-0 the other day. They weren't completely electric and exciting. So I think this idea for me that, again, we've just morphed into this Jose style and that we are moving away from the really attacking principles is a little bit unfair. I think Mikel Arteta has always had real fluidity and flexibility in the way he wants to play the game. I think his style of football is to be pragmatic, but not pragmatic that means negative. Pragmatic as in, what is the best way of getting a result? What's the best way of getting a win? So for me, he looks at, Timber, Gabriella starting away at at home against Liverpool. We're going to press their front three and we're going to be really aggressive. But the minute Kiwior and Lewis Skelly are in the team, we can't adopt that same game plan. They'll get bullied. They'll lose those battles against Salah and Nunez. So I'm going to protect them a little bit more and play a little bit more defensive style. I think that's just Arteta playing the odds. And that's why I think this idea that he's morphed into this Mourinho style rather than it just being something he's always been able to adopt and go into, but we've done it a little bit more this season because of context. I think that's more what it is rather than it's an actual transformation of Arteta's general style, which I think is incredibly mixed in the way he wants to play his football. And look, let me say that last season, where we did sign Havertz, Rice, Timber, where we did try and be supposedly this more pragmatic Mourinho style team, we scored more goals, we racked up more points, we won more games. For me, that signs of a better attacking side. So again, Mikel Arteta, if he ever reaches Mourinho or Guardiola, fantastic. We've got one of the most successful managers in Premier League history if we do that. So I'm not upset about the comparisons. I'm also not upset by the idea that Arteta could be quite Mourinho-like in the way he wants to approach the game at times. But I think to define Arteta's style of football as either Guardiola or Jose Mourinho, I think does a disservice to the amount of different styles of football and the flexibility he shows in his tactics, which, listen, whether it's enough, whether it's good enough to get Arsenal over the line is another question. But there's no question for me that he is trying to do different things with this Arsenal team all the time.